President Trump's use of language is very distinctive. Whether he's tweeting or on stage at a rally, this star of reality TV knows how to make an impression. And that proved a challenge to American artist Diana Weimar. She wanted to find a way of relating to the current political atmosphere. So she began knitting Mr. Trump's words and invited others to get out their needles too. The results are on display in New York. We've been taking a look.
It has been so incredible to see people come into the store and experience it for the first time, to literally walk into a space that is sort of a three-dimensional Twitter feed. I was inspired in January of 2018 to stitch the words, "I'm a very stable genius," into an inherited piece of needlepoint. And I think at that point I hadn't really found a way to process the language that was being used by Donald Trump, and certainly wasn't following him on Twitter very closely. And I set a goal to stitch about one piece a week just to keep track of what he was saying, and it was partly a way for me to process and engage in U.S. politics, but it very quickly ramped up to 3 or 4 pieces a week, and then it pretty much, by 6 months later, I couldn't possibly keep up. The response to the exhibition in New York has been pretty amazing. People talk about when they remember hearing which quote, they look for their friends' pieces. One piece I tend to show people when they visit the exhibit, what the quote says is, "The best thing that ever happened to Puerto Rico is President Donald J. Trump." And at first glance it appears to be stitched into fabric like all the rest of the pieces, but when you look more closely you realize that she stitched this quote into a square piece of paper towel. When you look at something and you see each individual stitch, you, I think, are forced to wonder about the person who made it, and then wonder how they were impacted by what they were stitching. And in many cases, people are stitching words that they find very challenging and very upsetting. And I think that when we are in that space and we can see the contradictions, we can see them because we know that it's been made by a person who has made a commitment to sharing what they're hearing and how they feel about what they're hearing.
Diana Weimar with a very novel way of responding to the president's tweets. I'm Laura Trevelyan. Thank you for watching BBC World News America.